back to another exciting episode of the NVP Show. We got a lot of topics to go through today in the wide world of sports, so without further ado, let's get right down to it. First thing we're going to talk about, we got, Major League Baseball. We're obviously in the heart of the off season. We're in December. Winter meetings obviously are coming up in a few days. And we've had some interesting moves and interesting signings. And let's get right down to the nitty-gritty here. Let's talk about some of the bigger moves. The first big move I want to talk about is Aroldis Chapman, who in the summer got traded from the Yankees to the Chicago Cubs and helped the Cubs win the World Series. He now is back in the Bronx. He signed a 5-year, $86 million deal. $86 million. That's a lot of money for a guy who has been criticized more or less as a person for his domestic abuse off the field. And I was listening to a couple of people make comments about this, and a lot of people are saying the Yankees are proving that they're a team that cares more about winning and could care less about what they do off the field. Now, I don't know if I want to agree with that or say that that's true. I think that my only criticism is just the fact that you're paying $86 million for one guy. And also, the Yankees, in my opinion, don't really need him. They still have Dylan Betances, and he's been pitching. He's had his bad games here and there, but he's been consistent. And also, you're not giving enough money for these younger guys, for the Yankees, for the future, because you have all these young guys: Greg Bird, Aaron Judge, Clint Frazier, and Gary Sanchez. All these guys, in a few years, when they start asking for more money, you're not going to have that. And the most interesting thing I read about this contract is the fact that Aroldis Chapman cannot be traded within the first 3 years. So for at least 3 years, the Yankees will have him before they can even consider trading him. And that, to me, is kind of ridiculous. I don't understand why you make that type of deal. I think that Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, should have really gotten down and maybe cut the years and cut the amount of money, because you're also knowing that you still are paying a bunch of other guys. And I know you have a lot of young players and you're trying to build a championship contender, but to me this is not the way to do it. If you want to pay $86 million, I think you need to use it on a bat, because I've been saying before that the biggest thing is that the Yankees lack offense. Their pitching is good. I know they might need another starting pitcher, maybe like I said, Garrett Cole last week, thinking about that, but other than that, I can't really see the value of getting a guy like Chapman. I know he's very dominant, but at the same time, for 5 years, $86 million, and you can't trade him within the first 3 years, it's kind of ridiculous, because if he gets hurt, what are you supposed to do? You have to pay him the $86 million. And if he starts stinking out the joint in either his first or second year or wherever, you still can't trade him because you're not allowed to because of the contract. And to me, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And that puts the Yankees in a very big hole. And so I just hope that, this works out for the Yankees, because if it doesn't, they're going to look like real chumps at the end once this deal is finally finished. Next deal I want to talk about is more or less a signing. The St. Louis Cardinals 2 days ago signed outfielder Dexter Fowler, a 5-year, $82.5 million deal. Now, I heard rumors that Dexter Fowler was a front-runner to be signed by the Toronto Blue Jays. It looks like the talks never really got underway with that one. And what you end up having is you have Dexter Fowler signing with probably the Cubs' biggest rival in the division, the St. Louis Cardinals. And I think this is a big pickup for the Cardinals. I think this really helps their offense. Dexter Fowler has developed from where he was when he was with the Washington Nationals early on in his career, being a so-so player, to being a big contributor to the Cubs in the World Series. In Game 7, he hit that leadoff home run, and the Cubs never looked back. And he's a very good player. He's an all-around player. He can play in the outfield. He can make some great plays out there, but he can also swing the bat and be a tremendous leadoff guy. A leadoff guy that can also, hit the ball out of the ballpark. So you really got to give the Cardinals a lot of credit. For the amount of money, I could see it in a way. Maybe I would shrink it down to maybe $75, $74 million, maybe not 82. But they're asking a lot for him. That shows you how much that they really want to have this guy on the team. In 5 years, that's a long time. I don't know if it's the same thing with regards to Chapman's deal, with you can't trade him in the first couple of years. But still, I think the Cardinals got a big plus. That is a that to me is like an A grade. I don't give an A minus or an A plus. I give them an A right there. That was a big pickup for them. I think the Cardinals now are really, and they have a much better chance of not only getting into the postseason this next year, but maybe competing for a World Series title. And then we go to, I think, the biggest trade so far we've had, and that was the Chicago White Sox traded Cy Young Award winner pitcher Chris Sale to the Boston Red Sox for, and I might get these names wrong, but just roll with me, right-handed pitchers Michael Kopech and Victor Diaz. They also acquired outfielder Luis Alexander Basabe. Like I said, I might have said his name wrong, but I apologize in advance. And they got, in my opinion, one of the smartest deals they could have made. They acquired Yoan Moncada, the big talented infielder from Cuba, who a lot of teams were trying to go after a couple of years ago, and the Red Sox were able to sign him to a big money contract. And now they just traded away him and 3 other prospects for one guy. I've never been a fan of that, unless it worked out. If it works out, great. But if it doesn't, then you kind of see that you have a bunch. You just lost 4 players for the price of 1 who might not even be that well. And I think it was kind of interesting because a couple of days ago, Chris Sale was the front runner to possibly go to the Nationals. The Nationals and White Sox were having talks. But then I heard once the deal was made with the Red Sox that the White Sox were using the Nationals to kind of schmoozy a deal with the Red Sox to kind of keep them in the hunt for Chris Sale. And boy, did the White Sox win out on this one. They really got a good deal on this. I really feel that getting a guy like Yoan Moncada is tremendous. I saw him play in the Prospects Challenge, I think you want to call it, back in the All-Star game this past year in San Diego. He hit a home run, and it was like an opposite field blast to left field, and he really looked good. He ended up winning the MVP of that game, and I think that he could continue to develop to be a superstar. That's what people were saying, that this kid is going to be one of the better players in the game a couple years down the road. And I don't really agree with this. I mean, I know the Red Sox are trying to go for a let's win now mentality, but obviously you look at their pitching staff and it's set, but I feel like now their offense is a little bit cut down because I feel the Red Sox were going to call up Moncada this next year and give him an opportunity to play. And I think that now the White Sox have a chance to really build their team around him and a few other guys that they picked up and really continue to make noise and really continue to build the team and hopefully get back to where they were like that 2005 White Sox team, a team that can compete for a World Series title. So maybe here in Chicago, you definitely have to start seeing that things are looking up. White Sox won the World Series. Not the Cubs won the World Series, excuse me. The White Sox are trying to rebuild to hopefully eventually win the World Series. So it looks pretty good baseball-wise in the city of Chicago. The last deal that I want to talk about that I thought was kind of head-scratching to me was probably the Yankees signing Matt Holliday to that 1-year deal. Matt Holliday, I believe, is 35 years old, and I know that maybe people want to say, oh, they're bringing him in for veteran leadership, but at the same time, I still don't see it. I feel like the Yankees once again made a move to get a guy that, in my opinion, is kind of at the tail end of his career, and also, I don't know how much offense he's going to do. To me, he's kind of like a Richie Sexton when the Yankees acquired him in 2008. I just don't see him being much of a value to this team. Obviously he'll probably be the DH, like they'll put him where A-Rod was and everything like that, but I feel that the Yankees need to have their young guys come up and play because that'll get people excited and that will help the Yankees into seeing what they have and what they can use to build this team to hopefully get back to where they were. I know a lot of Yankee fans that hope that the adding of all these young players will eventually make them a good team and hopefully bring them back to where they want to be. And I think that a lot of people expect them to hopefully get to that point where they were in the late 90s and the early 2000s when they were winning 3-4 World Series titles. So, you have to look at it, and I just think that getting Matt Holliday and also Aroldis Chapman, neither one of these deals I'm a big fan of. I know Aroldis Chapman's still a relatively young player. He's still learning. But, off the field, that's the biggest thing. On the field, he's tremendous, throwing over 100 miles an hour, being pretty much dominant and being pretty much unhittable. But I think, in my opinion, they should have gone after Andrew Miller and not Aroldis Chapman. Because Miller, in my opinion, did a much better job. He was much more consistent. He was off the charts. He was one of the biggest reasons the Indians made the World Series last year. I think the Yankees should have tried to get him back. because then if obviously then it looks like you didn't lose anybody. You just got those players from Cleveland. But, the Yankees decided to go with Chapman. And, it's a big money market, and you have to look at, logistics of it and the fact that the Yankees are trying to put fans in the stands for the most part. And, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a very optimistic season for the New York Yankees. And one last deal that I just remembered that I want to talk about is Carlos Beltran just signed a couple days ago, signed a 1-year deal with the Houston Astros. And I actually like this deal because I think that Carlos Beltran is getting close to the end of his career. He understands that, there's not that much time left. And I think what's kind of nice is that he's signing with one of his former teams, a team, in my opinion, where he really took off. I mean, he was one of the biggest reasons that the Astros were able to make the World Series in 2005. He was very consistent, and throughout most of his career, he's never really had a bad year. He's normally been very consistent in the postseason. When he was with the Cardinals in 2013, he was a big help to them, and you could see it. Once he got hurt and couldn't play, you could tell that the Cardinals kind of fell off. They were like, oh, well, what are we supposed to do now and everything? But I think that the Astros, this will be something that will get more fans to come, and I think Beltran could be a good addition to this Astros team, who in the last couple of years has been able to make the playoffs and is led by one of the most talented second basemen in the league, Jose Altuve. And the young guys that they have on this team, there's no telling where this Astros team will go in the next couple of years. So I'm very interested to see how Beltran will play back with a team that he was so loved. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk about a sport that we haven't talked about a little bit, soccer. Major League Soccer, it's the MLS Cup final tomorrow night. It should be really fun to watch. I'll go over a preview for that. We got some NFL games to go over, and then we got my college football previews. Obviously, there's only one game this week, but there's something that I really want to talk about that's really pissing me off. So we'll see when you get back here on the NVP Show.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job is to run and manage my own spa one day.
To be the general manager for the Jumeirah Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
I feel that Mercier's has prepared me very well for my future in the hospitality industry.
The kitchen is incredible.
You are planning the meal, doing all the costing and the recipes. You're in charge of everything going on in the kitchen.
They really do get you prepared, and they want to make sure that you have a job after college.
When it comes to injuries,
they're not all created equal.
That's why at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine,
our team of doctors will coordinate and customize your care
to provide the best treatment options using the area's most advanced medical technology.
All with one goal in mind.
To get you back in the game.
We call life.
Pain-free.
Drug-free.
Surgery-free. That's what we do here at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine.
Get better faster.
Stay better longer.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NVP Show, and we got some more topics to go through. So obviously we just got through with baseball, and now we're going to talk a little bit about soccer. I don't really talk about it very much. I'm still, learning the game a little bit, and I want to talk about Major League Soccer today. Obviously, that's the big soccer league that's here in the United States, and you got an interesting game coming up this week. This week is the Major League Soccer World Cup, final. It's the last game of the year, and you have the Seattle Sounders taking on Toronto FC. This game will be played in Toronto. It'll be on Sunday night on 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. In case you're a soccer fan, you want to watch it. And I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about because I don't really talk about soccer very much. And I thought it'd be good to kind of mix it up a little bit. Every once in a while, kind of mix it up. Talk about some other sports. And kind of spread the love a little bit. And let's do a little preview about this game. This for a little bit. Let's look at the Seattle Sounders. They're coming out of the Western Conference. They've been a relatively good team for the last couple of years. They've been led by Clint Dempsey, obviously the Team USA captain for the last couple of years. He's had some injuries, so he has not been playing. He's not going to be playing in this game, so unfortunately you won't be able to see him. But you will see an interesting young rookie, Jordan Morris, who looks like he's one of the best rookies in the league, and I think he might have won Rookie of the Year. I'm not sure. He finished the regular season with 12 goals and 4 assists, and he added 2 more goals and 3 more assists in the postseason. And a lot of people were saying he was one of the biggest reasons that Seattle got through to the Western Conference and got to the final. And I actually got a chance to watch some of his highlights yesterday, and I could tell you he's a tremendous player. Him and Jack Harrison from New York City FC are both 2 of the most talented young players I've seen in soccer. They are tremendous players. They both really dominate the game, and Jordan Morris really looks like he could be the real deal. And just looking at this Seattle team, knowing that you don't have Clint Dempsey, but you still have some other good players, you have talent, you have a very talented goaltender and everything like that, and you just look at, and they weren't, I don't think they were the team expected to come out of the Western Conference. Obviously you had the Colorado Rapids, who were led by Tim Howard, the USA goaltender, but once he got hurt in that qualifying match against Mexico, it was all downhill, unfortunately, for Colorado. But Seattle really came out and really did a good job of dominating the games and really playing well. And you look at, like I said, they have a very strong defense. That's the thing I've watched. I've been able to watch a few of their games, and what I noticed is that they have a very strong defense, and they really seem to dictate the pace. They play a defensive style of game where they force you to try to make plays, and if you don't, they're going to attack you and shove your game right back in your face. And that's what they've been able to do. They've been able to have a very strong defense, not really allow a lot of shots to get to the goaltender, and able to create a lot of plays offensively and leading to goals. And that's why Jordan Morris, what I noticed is that he's a all-around guy. He will not only go down and score or set up goals, he will also go back and make plays defensively. And I think that he really has a chance to become an MLS superstar. And I think if he continues to grow, and maybe winning an MLS championship will help him, it'll really put a light on this kid. I think that it will get a lot of people noticing, maybe not just in the United States, but definitely around the world. You know that there are guys that come from England or Europe or wherever and come play in the United States or vice versa. It all depends, and you look at just how it's played, and that to me is the most impressive thing. That's the whole thing I'm going to be looking for. I really want to come out and see this kid play because I've heard a lot of good things about him. Now let's talk about Toronto FC. For the first time ever, Canada has a chance to have an MLS championship. Obviously, in the Eastern Conference Final, it was Toronto FC versus Montreal FC. And it was very interesting, and Toronto was able to come away with the victory. And about the amount of goals, the rule is it goes by scoring, who scored the most goals. It's kind of like how they do it there. It's just it's a little confusing, a little frustrating, but that's kind of how they do things. I would say Toronto FC is a little bit more interesting because of this reason. They have 2 very noticeable players. Well, actually 3, but 2 of them are very noticeable in the United States, and that is Michael Bradley and Jose Altidore. Both of these guys have been on the United States team, the team that went to playing the World Cup a couple years ago, and they have both been staples in the USA team, and they're both two of the leaders of this Toronto FC team, and they've really been able to grow the sport of soccer in Canada. And I think that a lot of people would like to see Canada win this MLS Cup because it would, like I said, it would finally bring a champion, well, not necessarily a championship, but a soccer championship to Canada. That would be a big deal. And Seattle, actually, if I'm not mistaken, has never won a championship either. So you have two teams who have a chance to write their names in the history books as being the first team or the first players to ever win a championship for this soccer club. But there is one other player I want to talk about with Toronto FC that I think should have won the MVP award or the Golden Boot, and that is Sebastian Giovinco. He is, he's from Italy. He's played on the Italian national team. He's a very young, talented player. He finished third in goal scoring, and he finished second in assists. And he was one of the guys that had a chance to become, win the Golden Boot, which is for most goals scored in a season, and also possibly the MVP award. Obviously, David Villa from NYCFC was able to win it. Again, congratulations to him. Sort of a local thing. Obviously, I'm much closer to Philadelphia. I know that Philadelphia Union fans are not really, they don't want to hear that, but still, it's very, 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 very big. And you look, but going back to Giovinco, I saw him play a couple times. He's a very talented player with a lot of speed. He has a lot of speed, and that to me is the most impressive thing. And that's really what's going to dictate this game. You have a team like Seattle who has tremendous defense all around and really tries to shove your game right back in your face. And then you have a team like Toronto FC who has a lot of the big name players, Giovinco, Bradley, Altidore, and they're all about speed. They're all about speed and quickness. I know it's relatively the same thing, but you get my point. And the biggest thing is that you just look at the fact that they have, you're going to have a clash of very opposite sides. And I think to me, that's what you're going to like. And I think this is going to come down to penalty kicks. I really do. I think both teams will find the back of the net at least once in this game. I think extra time won't be enough, and I think you'll, unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't really like this. You're going to come down to basically a shootout. And talking from a hockey fan, I don't really like shootouts anyway, and I don't really like shootouts in soccer either. I'd rather they just keep playing and playing and playing until we have a winner. That, to me, is the way it should go. But I understand that they want to sometimes do a shootout because they don't want to keep having these players run around the whole field all the time because they're going to have a lot of time. They're going to be very tired and very worn out. But all in all, I think it should be a really interesting game. I think that Major League Soccer has slowly every single year developed more and more. I think obviously you look at the way Fox and Fox Sports talks about it, and even ESPN. I think it's great that they get more and more coverage. And I think it's big. And I think that this, like I said, all in all, this should be a very, very exciting game to watch. And everyone should definitely check this out. Even if you're not a big soccer fan, or even if you're not a big MLS fan, I highly suggest that you come and watch this game, because I think that what you're going to see are some of the most talented players, possibly in the U.S., playing this game. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but when we come back, we have some NFL games to talk to, and we also have college football, and I have some interesting things to tell you about that. So we'll see when you get back here. This is the NVP Show.
The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job is to run and manage my own spa one day.
To be the general manager for the Jumeirah Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
I feel that Mercier's has prepared me very well for my future in the hospitality industry.
The kitchen is incredible.
You are planning the meal, doing all the costing and the recipes. You're in charge of everything going on in the kitchen.
They really do get you prepared, and they want to make sure that you have a job after college.
When it comes to injuries,
They're not all created equal.
that's why at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine,
Our team of doctors will coordinate and customize your care,
to provide the best treatment options using the area's most advanced medical technology
all with one goal in mind.
to get you back in the game,
We call life
pain-free,
drug-free.
surgery-free. That's what we do here at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine.
Get better faster.
Stay better longer.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location.
Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome back to the NVP Show. We still have some more things to talk about. Let's talk about the NFL now. Obviously, we've talked about baseball and soccer, but now let's talk about the NFL. Obviously, we know that this is a very interesting week. Let's start off with the Thursday night game that happened a couple days ago. You had the Kansas City Chiefs at home taking on the Oakland Raiders. The Chiefs are one of the few teams that was able to beat the Raiders earlier on in the season. They beat them in Oakland, and now the Raiders were looking to try to get their revenge in Kansas City. And unfortunately for Oakland, that wasn't the case, as the Chiefs were able to come away with a 21-13 victory. The interesting thing, though, is that you look at the Chiefs turn over the ball 3 times, and the Raiders didn't turn over the ball a single time. You know, in most games, if you turn over the ball that many times and your opponent doesn't do it, you're going to lose. But you got to give a lot of credit to that Chiefs defense. They really shut down Derek Carr. A lot of people were very critical of Derek Carr because they thought that, oh, he's playing injured because of his hurt finger. And Derek Carr just said that had nothing to do with it. He just played bad. And I give him a lot of credit for admitting the fact that he played bad and not trying to use something like that small injury as an excuse. But yeah, the Chiefs' defense was tremendous in my opinion. I thought it was just fantastic the way they played. And they really shut it down at the end because the Raiders were driving, looking to go down, and they were, I believe, at one point almost at the 20-yard line of the Chiefs at the end of the game. But the Raiders had 2 plays in a row where they tried to go more or less towards the end zone, and the Chiefs defense was able to stop them and win the game. And so the Chiefs and Raiders are tied with the same record of 10-3. But because of the tiebreaker, the Chiefs right now are in first place in the AFC West. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs have just come out of nowhere. They've just been able to, just grab these wins. 2 weeks ago when they played Atlanta, they won the game on a game-winning interception on a 2-point conversion by the Atlanta Falcons. Eric Berry intercepted the pass, went down and scored, got the 2 points, and ended up winning the game 29-28. And the Chiefs could have easily lost that one, but they were somehow able to pull away. Very lucky. I hate to say it that way, but they were very lucky to win that game. But still, I think you got to give them a lot of credit for the amount of work that they did. So kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs. They played well. They were able to beat a very talented Raiders team. And for the Raiders, they control their own destiny. They really have, for me, the best way for them to win the division is that they have to win their last 3 games. but I think the Chiefs have a chance to win their last 3 games as well. And so it's going to be a very tight race in the AFC West at the end of this year. And now let's do our previews of some of the games. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles first. They're obviously at home taking on the Washington Redskins, so obviously a big rivalry game. A lot of people call this the battle. This is kind of weird. I heard this on the radio when I was driving in. It said the battle for bringing up the rear of the NFC East. And I'm like, these two teams are still relatively good. I know that they're obviously behind the Giants and the Cowboys, but still, they're very good. And they're, and I think this is going to be a battle between Carson Wentz and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins obviously has the second most passing yards of any quarterback this year. Fantasy-wise, he's been pretty much really good. But at the same time, I'm saying that these two teams are really, really good. And you have both offenses that are going to come out on fire. And I think, obviously, I know that a lot of time I predict high-scoring games when it comes to this. But in this one, I got to go with, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think that, obviously, you're going to have some scoring. But I think you're going to have a 24-21 game. I think the Eagles are going to come away victorious. I think that, obviously, you're going to see, like I said, the biggest thing to say, watch for either Kirk Cousins or Carson Wentz to go off in this game. I think Carson Wentz will bounce back from some of his tough losses. Like I said on some of these other shows, it's a learning process for him. Everything like that, it's a big deal for him. And so you understand that, look, this is huge. Obviously for Carson Wentz, he wants to continue to develop and be the guy and continue to show that he is the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think he will have a better game this week. I think he'll shake off some of those tough losses and he'll come back and have a really, really good game this week. Now let's talk about the game that everybody here in this studio really likes talking about. That's the Giants versus the Cowboys. And obviously my producer Keith and Pete and Aaron from the Philly Sports Guys, we made a nice little bet. Obviously if the Giants win, then Pete and myself get cheesesteaks from Aaron and Keith. And if the Cowboys win, then Pete and I have to do the same thing for Aaron and Keith. So obviously there's a personally, there's something on the line here, so I'm hoping I could possibly get a cheesesteak out of this, but we'll see. Like I said, the Giants play the Cowboys this week, Sunday Night Football, MetLife Stadium, can't get no bigger than this. And the Cowboys coming in playing the only team that has beaten them this year. And a lot of people are saying, oh, that was a fluke, forget this, the Cowboys should have won that game. In my opinion, I kind of agree with the fact that the Cowboys probably should have won that game if it wasn't for Terrence Williams not running out of bounds. I mean, if he ran out of bounds, who knows what could have happened. But, look, the Giants came off a tough loss last week, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they got shellacked, and their offense looked pathetic. They obviously were able to score some points and make it close, but they really were just outplayed. They really didn't do well. Once Eli Manning threw that interception in the second quarter while they were driving to try to take the lead, I knew the Giants weren't winning this one. They really struggled out of the gate, and if they don't come out and have one of their best offensive performances, as the only team in the NFL that has still yet to score 30 points. If they don't come out and play their A game, they are going to get smacked by the Cowboys. Biggest thing for the Giants defense. We obviously know Jason Pierre-Paul is going to be done for the rest of the year. That's a big hurt for the Giants defense, who has continued to keep the Giants in these games a lot. If the Giants can stop that running game, well, not necessarily stop it, but slow it down and make it easier for them to contain Ezekiel Elliott and get to him. To me, I think the Giants have a good shot at winning it because I think regardless of whether the Giants offense really comes to play or not, I just think the Cowboys defense is kind of suspect. I don't think it's that good. I think the Giants defense is better in this game, and I just think that the Giants have a really good shot. They're also playing at home. And I don't really buy that the Cowboys are as good as people say they are. I know they keep pulling out victories, but if you look at last week when they beat the Vikings, the Vikings should have at least had another chance to, go for two because Sam Bradford got murdered on that last play. He got hit in the head, and that was ridiculous. That was a blown non-call. And obviously, the Cowboys struggled for the most part against the Vikings. And I think the Giants fans are going to come out full through. I think it's going to be loud. It's going to be cold. It's December. It's the Giants versus Cowboys. Like I said, it gets no better than this. And to me, this should be very exciting to watch. And I'm going to go, I'm still going with the Giants. Sorry, Keith. I'm not backing out of this deal. I'm really going to go with the Giants in this. And if they lose, I will admit my defeat. And I will say it on this show. I will admit my defeat if I lose this game. It happens. But I think the Giants are going to come out. I think it's going to be close. I'm going with 17-14 Big Blue. I think the Giants will come away with a victory. And, obviously I don't think they're going to win the NFC East, but I think that they're going to be that team that, has the Cowboys number. I still think the Giants are going to win this game. Now let's go to everyone's favorite team, the New York Jets. Obviously this week they're taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Two of probably the worst teams in the NFL going up against each other. With a lot of headlines, this should be a lot of fun. Bryce Petty finally named the starter for the rest of the year, we think. Remember, he was announced the starter before when the Jets played the Los Angeles Rams, and then Todd Bowles ended up going with Fitzpatrick the next couple weeks. To me, the single reason that Todd Bowles did that is because he knows that his job is almost gone. You look at the Jets players, a lot of them said they don't even believe in this coach anymore. So at that point, what are you playing for? Now you're just playing to probably just make some money and hopefully finish on a high note. For Bryce Petty, it's all about continuing to develop as a young quarterback and hopefully get a chance to compete for the starting job going into next season. And that's what I was talking about for the last couple weeks. The most ridiculous thing is the fact that Jets seem to don't see this. And now I finally understand. Todd Bowles was trying to just save his job. And that was the thing that's most ridiculous to me. You should at least let whoever comes in next see what you got for next year. Let them see it. Because I think Bryce Petty, I've said before, is the future of this team. And if he's not, then let Christian Hackenberg come in. Like I said, I think what they should do is have Hackenberg play 2 games and have Petty play 2 games. And just see what you got. And whoever comes out on top, that's what you try to go with to start off next season. You have to have some positive outlook. I feel like there's more positive outlook on the Cleveland Browns, who have RG3 starting this week, than the Jets do. It's just ridiculous because the Jets have been doing this for years, and they keep doing it. And it's just ridiculous. It's just an ongoing show of the amount of BS that they do all the time. Woody Johnson makes these moves that just make no sense. The Jets need to fire Todd Bowles, and they need to find a new coach. A coach that understands the Jets and understands where they're coming from and understands the history of this team and what other people have done in order to make a difference. Because, are they going to hire another Rex Ryan? They're going to hire another Herm Edwards or whatever? It's ridiculous just the amount of garbage that this team does. It's just absolutely a joke. But like I said, I'm really happy that Bryce Petty was named the starter. I hope he stays the starter for the rest of the year, and I hope that he comes out and proves why I think he's the best quarterback on this Jets team. All right, we're going to take one more commercial break, but when we come back, it's time for college football. There's one big game on today. There's a big ceremony also tonight, but also I got to talk about these college football playoff rankings. I told you what I thought was going to happen. It didn't happen, and now I got something to say about it. So we'll see when you get back here on the NVP Show.
This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job is to run and manage my own spa one day.
To be the general manager for the Jumeirah Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
I feel that Mercier's has prepared me very well for my future in the hospitality industry.
The kitchen is incredible.
You are planning the meal, doing all the costing and the recipes. You're in charge of everything going on in the kitchen.
They really do get you prepared, and they want to make sure that you have a job after college.
When it comes to injuries,
They're not all created equal.
that's why at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine,
Our team of doctors will coordinate and customize your care,
to provide the best treatment options using the area's most advanced medical technology
all with one goal in mind.
to get you back in the game,
We call life
pain-free,
drug-free.
surgery-free. That's what we do here at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine.
Get better faster.
Stay better longer.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
And welcome back here to the NVP Show. It's time for my last topic, and you already know where it's going. College football, baby. We got a lot to talk about, so let's just get right down to it. And the first thing I want to talk about, okay. So the college football playoff ranking was announced on Sunday. Selection Sunday. And I was really, really hoping that the committee would not do what I was fearing it would do, and that was to allow Ohio State, who didn't win the Big Ten, who didn't play in the Big Ten championship game, and lost to Penn State, who ended up winning the Big Ten championship. But they did exactly that. Alabama, number 1. Clemson, number 2. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, maybe, okay. All of a sudden, I was like, whoa, if Washington's number 3, Penn State's got to be 4. Nope. Ohio State went 3rd and Washington went 4th. 3 of those teams deserve to get in. Ohio State doesn't. And I'm sorry for all the Buckeye fans out there, but I have the biggest problem with this. And I've been saying it all week, and it's just annoying to me. What I don't like is the fact that they were saying, oh, we're looking for the best 4 teams. I get that. But at the same time, the last 2 years you've been doing this, you've been allowing all of the conference championship winners. So for the first time ever, you decided to do a non-conference championship winner, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Ohio State, yes, they have 1 loss. I get that. And I know people say, oh, Penn State shouldn't have lost to Pitt, or Ohio State should have lost to, if Ohio State lost to Michigan State, we wouldn't be talking about this. But the thing that you have to understand is the fact that they're not being consistent. Penn State was the best team in the Big Ten East. They beat Ohio State at home, and they won the Big Ten championship game. They did everything you're supposed to do, and they also scored a bunch of darn points. What else could they have done? This is the thing that shows you how biased the committee is. And I listened to the head of the committee. I forgot his name all of a sudden. But he, every time they tried to bring up Penn State, he was trying to avoid the question because he knew he screwed up. They knew they screwed up. They did exactly what they did with TCU. They were trying to fix what they did with TCU, what they did in the first year of the college football playoff, and now they're screwing them over again. Penn State obviously is going to be playing in the Rose Bowl against USC. Congrats to them. It's a big game. It's the big, granddaddy of them all. But at the same time, this is ridiculous that Penn State is not in there. They're pretty much saying Penn State's not a really good team, and that is BS to me. Penn State did everything they could do to get in the playoff. Ohio State didn't even play that week. That makes no sense. How could you let a team who didn't play, who sat around? You looked at the AP and coaches poll. Ohio State was number 5, and they put Penn State at 4 in both the AP and college polls. What in the world did Penn State have to do? Is it because of all the sanctions that were dropped a couple of years ago because of Sandusky? Was it the fact that they lost to Pitt and they got blown out by Michigan? So what? They did everything else that they were supposed to do. I feel like even if Penn State had 1 loss, they would have gotten screwed. This is how ridiculous this thing is. And I just... every year there's controversy with this committee. And I hope And I hope that one day they move this to 8. Just like every other division in college football. If they get it to 8 teams, we will not have this problem. This problem will be much easier to be fixed, and we won't have these, stupid discussions about it. To me, it's the most ridiculous thing, and it's a crime against Penn State. And I hope, and I'm sorry to Ohio State fans, but I hope Ohio State gets absolutely blown out by Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl. I hope they blow them out by 30 points just to prove that Ohio State had no right being there. And I know Urban Meyer says we're so humble, we feel like we deserve it. That is a bunch of BS, excuse my language, but that is a bunch of BS at the fact that Ohio State is in it for not playing that week and not winning anything but beating Michigan. If you're going to really give them, just because they beat Michigan and they blew out a bunch of teams like Hawaii and Idaho, or wherever the heck they played early on in the season, that to me is a bunch of garbage. And I hope the committee feels good about themselves for doing something that is complete crime. Anyway, let's move on from this because I'm about to blow a gasket in here. Jeez. Speaking of Ohio State, let's just keep talking about it. Why not? Because they're all over the darn internet. Co-defensive coordinator Luke Fickell, who had negotiations earlier on this morning with Cincinnati, he just a couple minutes ago just accepted the head coaching job at Cincinnati. So after the season, he'll become the new head coach of the Bearcats. Congratulations to him. And you got to understand that, look, you have a bunch of former Ohio State guys being head coaches. Chris Sass, the head coach of Rutgers. Yeah, I'm talking about Rutgers again. That was fun. Luke Fickell will now be the head coach of Cincinnati. And you have Tom Herman, who just took the job at his alma mater of Texas. So congratulations to him, former Ohio State assistant. So Ohio State does a good job of getting future coaches to develop and become those head coaches. And also another thing to talk about, Lane Kiffin, offensive coordinator at Alabama the last couple of years. He is in negotiations with an unknown team, so we don't know who he's talking to, we don't know what's going on, but right now, all we know is that Lane Kiffin looks like he may or may not be leaving. He's been in those negotiations the last couple of years, but we don't know. And also, Charlie Strong, the former head coach of Texas, is in talks with the University of South Florida. Obviously, South Florida lost their head coach to Oregon. He's in talks with possibly becoming next head coach. So you're starting to see a lot of you're starting to slowly see some new coaches, new places. And that to me is always fun, just to see where we go with that. And now let's talk about the one game that's being played today. And that is one of the most fun games that I love watching. It's Army versus Navy, baby. You have military academies going up against each other. It's been 14 years since Army's beaten Navy, and for once I feel that Army has a shot. Navy's starting quarterback broke his leg last week against Temple in the American Athletic Conference Championship game, and now you got Army looks like they got a chance. But you know what? Navy constantly pulls this game out. It's I don't really have a good prediction for you, ladies and gentlemen, today, but Navy pulls this game out all the time. But I would just love to see Army win this game. Obviously it's not really a rivalry if Navy just keeps winning it. So hopefully Army can finally break that curse and the pain can be over, because these kids, especially those seniors, they've been going through this pain for 3 years now, and they want to end it on a high note and at the end of their career. So that would be great. Last thing I want to talk about, also the Heisman Trophy ceremony is tonight. Now last night I was actually at a play at the same hotel, the Marquee, where the Heisman Trophy finalists were staying. They even had billboards all over the hotel, and I was really excited. I walked past where the Heisman Trophy ceremony will be taking place in the Heisman Club. I was really excited. Obviously, I would love to attend it tonight, but obviously it's a lot of money and everything like that. But look, I'm really excited. I think this should be interesting because I don't feel like there's a clear-cut winner. The one guy that I thought was interesting is wide receiver Dede Westbrook out of Oklahoma. First time since 2006, I believe, when Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush were both from the same team on it, that we have two players from the same college that are going to be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. And in case you don't know, the finalists are Lamar Jackson, the quarterback from Louisville, Deshaun Watson, the quarterback from Clemson, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback from Oklahoma, Jabril Peppers from Jersey, from down in North Jersey, the running back / receiver / all-around player from Michigan, and Dede Westbrook, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Who do I think is going to win it? I think it's going to come down between Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Jabril Peppers. Baker Mayfield and Dede Westbrook were just put there, I feel like, because they couldn't really figure out who else was really having a great season. So they kind of put those two in at the end. But in my opinion, I think Deshaun Watson's going to win it. I think he should have won it last year. I obviously understand that they wanted to give the Heisman Trophy to an Alabama running back again, just the second time ever an Alabama guy's won it. But I think Deshaun Watson's had a great season. He's in the Final Four. Out of all these teams, he's in the Final Four. And he has a chance to once again try to lead his Clemson Tigers to the national championship game. Back-to-back ACC titles. He is, without, in my opinion, the best quarterback in football. I think Lamar Jackson's just a stats guy. And I know this is a stats type of award. But I think Deshaun Watson, through everything he's been through, I think he's going to win it tonight. I think you'll see Jabril Peppers finish in second, Lamar Jackson in third, Baker Mayfield in fourth, and Westbrook at last. But that is tonight at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Definitely check that out after the Army-Navy game. But all in all, that's going to be it for this edition of the MVP Show. As always, I want to thank you all very much for watching. You can catch me here on Radio Vision Network every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. You can also catch me 3 days a week, mostly Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, on Morning Coffee segment around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, talking about the wide world of sports. But that is it for me. Thank you very much, and have a great day out there. This is Neil Villapiano.